Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to reports from America, Armas is set to become Ralf Rangnicks' assistant at Manchester United. An announcement is expected in the next few days. Don't really know much about Armas. I know before he managed Toronto FC and before he managed New York Red Bulls. So that's the news on him. Now Ralf Rangnick won his first game in charge of Manchester United yesterday because Manchester United beat Crystal Palace 1-0. Thanks to a stunning goal from Fred late on. I think Rangnick could win a trophy at Manchester United. Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then after that, Rangnick will continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. Recently I heard that Rangnick would be interested in taking the Man United job on a permanent basis. Rangnick has been given a 100 million transfer budget for January. Ralf Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara as his first signing at Manchester United. Amadou Haidara has a £33 million release clause. Rangnick knows Amadou Haidara well because Rangnick used to manage RB Leipzig. Revert back to last week, the Manchester Evening News said that Rangnick wants a Timo Werner reunion at Man United. And there's a few other players he wants. Before Manchester United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Manchester United's next games is Young Boys. On my recent video I give you the preview. It's Manchester United's final game in the group stage of the Champions League. It's a meaningless game for Manchester United because Manchester United are already in to the knockout stages of the Champions League. So reflecting on that, I'm expecting Rangnick to heavily rotate. Manchester United's next league game is Norwich. I can assure at the end of the season that Manchester United will get a permanent manager. Pochettino, he's been spoken about. Revert back to last week, Roberto Mancini was mentioned. Erik ten Hag has also been mentioned and Brendan Rodgers has also been mentioned. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. You know, Man United sacked David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and Manchester United sacked Solskjaer a couple of weeks ago following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Manchester United have got a very good squad. And I think we're going to get the best out of these group of players under Ralf Rangnick. We put a very good performance out against Crystal Palace recently. Look who we've got in our team. You know, we've got Mason Greenwood. That's a talented player. Mason Greenwood was out for a while with COVID. Obviously, he's now back from COVID. Mason Greenwood came on in the game against Palace recently and he got the assist for the Fred goal. Greenwood scored, 4 goals in the league so far this season. He scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. At one point, Greenwood went a while without scoring, but despite that, he's been a revelation since he broke into our senior squad. Greenwood made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been part of the club for a long time. And last season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. I think Greenwood could be in contention to start against Young Boys on Wednesday. Jadon Sancho, he's starting to play well now. Sancho played well in the first half against Palace recently, but faded away in the second half. Sancho scored 2 goals for the club so far. He scored against Chelsea and Villarreal not so long ago. But it's good now that we're starting to get the best out of Sancho, because revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer, Man United were not getting the best out of Sancho because obviously Solskjaer was persistently playing him out of position. And there again, there was quite a few games Sancho didn't even play in under Solskjaer. So it's good now that Sancho's starting to settle in. I expected him to settle in straight away, but there again, not every player does settle in straight away. Manchester United got Sancho for 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid around 73 million up front. Sancho's got a contract with Man United until June 2026. There's an option of a further year. Manchester United have got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo did play against Crystal Palace recently. He had chances, but unfortunately he couldn't convert them. Ralf Rangnicks, by the way, loves Cristiano Ronaldo because prior to the game against Palace, Ralf Rangnicks made a promise to Ronaldo. Ronaldo was a doubt for the Crystal Palace game because before the game, reports were saying that Cristiano Ronaldo is a major doubt for Man United's game against Crystal Palace, as it said he was suffering from a knee issue that he picked up when he was celebrating against Arsenal. Ronaldo got a brace against Arsenal, including the winner from the penalty. Ronaldo now has 801 goals in his career, and he has 12 goals in all competitions for Man United since he re-signed. Ronaldo also has back-to-back awards since he re-signed for the club. Revert back to October, he got named Player of the Month. And revert back to September, he got named Premier League Player of the Month. Ronaldo has won 30-odd major trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. He's got a contract with Man United until 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week, so he's the highest earner at Man United at the moment. He wears the number 7 shirt, and Man United got Ronaldo for around 19.8 million with add-ons included. Marcus Rashford, he's good when he wants to be, but there is aspects of his game that have got to improve. There's quite a lot of games we haven't got the best out of Rashford. Rashford weren't that good against Palace yesterday. His movement was good at times and he got some good runs in behind, but I thought his decision making was poor in that. Rashford weren't that good against Arsenal last week, but he still managed to get an assist. At one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he had to have an operation on his shoulder. a lot of the time now, Rashford does play on that left wing. There again, he has played up top before. And I think he's played on the right wing before. Rashford's been part of the club for a long time. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. He's got a contract with Man United until 2023. There's an option of a further year. Edinson Cavani, he's also another good player Man United have got. He's out with injury at the moment. Cavani had an injury earlier on in the season. Cavani is interested in making a move to Barcelona next year. His contract at Man United expires next summer. Revert back to May. Cavani signed a 1-year contract extension. Man United got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG. This season is Cavani's second full season at Man United. Man United have also got Bruno Fernandez. That's also an exceptional player. Bruno Fernandez is one of our best players, and he's one of the best signings we've made since Ferguson retired. Fernandez played against Crystal Palace recently. He had chances, but he couldn't convert them. He played against Arsenal last week. He scored in that game. Fernandez has enjoyed quite a few poor games this season. He has been consistent though in a lot of games for Man United. Don't forget, Fernandez starts the vast majority of Man United's games, so reflecting on that, he will get fatigue. Fernandez, though, didn't start against Villarreal. Obviously, Donny Van Der Beek started in number 10 ahead of Fernandez in that game. Fernandez has been a Manchester United player for almost 2 years. We got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Revert back to earlier on this season, Fernandez did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United, and when he first come to Man United he said, "I've come to Manchester to win trophies." He's got a contract with Man United till 2025, there's an option of a further year. Revert back to earlier on this season, there was talks about Fernandez extending his contract plus getting a pay rise. That Anthony Elanga looks a good asset for the first team. He hasn't really played much though for the first team, has he? You know, Anthony Elanga came on yesterday against Crystal Palace. He played in the 2-1 win against Wolves in the final game of last season. I do recall him scoring in that one. Elanga will be in contention to play against Young Boys on Wednesday. Man United have also got Donny Van Der Beek. That's another good player. I haven't had a great deal of a perception on him though at Manchester United because, you know, he doesn't get enough opportunities, does he? You know, I think Van Der Beek will be leaving Man United in January unless he gets the game time he's been demanding under Ralf Rangnick. Revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer. Couldn't get Van Der Beek didn't get enough opportunities, and reflecting on that, Van Der Beek was frustrated. Van Der Beek's only scored 2 goals for Man United, and he's been at the club now for over a year and a half. Manchester United got Van Der Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. And he's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Paul Pogba, you know, he's also another good player. He's not only a good player, he's an imperative player as well. Revert back towards the start of the season, you know, Pogba was in scintillating form because Pogba got 7 assists. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season, but at one point last season he was out with a thigh injury for a while. And Pogba's now out with a thigh injury at the moment. Pogba is out for the rest of the year. Pogba got the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. Revert back to earlier on in the season, it said Man United are prepared to sell Pogba in the January transfer window. Pogba's contract at Man United expires next summer. Revert back to the start of the season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Moving on to Fred, he's done very well in his last 3 games. Fred played very well against Crystal Palace yesterday. He got player of the match, didn't he? Fred scored a stunning goal. It wasn't only his goal why his performance was good, I also thought his movement was good in the midfield. He got into some good positions and he played some sublime passes. Fred against Arsenal did well. He won the penalty because he got brought down by Martin Odegaard. And he also got an assist for the Fernandez goal in that game. And against Chelsea, Fred played well in the second half. Don't forget he squandered a chance in that game. That came from a mistake from Mendy. Manchester United got Fred for 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. That's quite a few years ago now. I have been really impressed with our second choice fullbacks recently. Telles and Delors have done really, really well. Telles has started Manchester United's last 4 games because Luke Shaw's obviously not been available. Luke Shaw's been out with a head injury. Telles against Crystal Palace could have scored because he had some good chances. One chance he had clipped the top of the crossbar. And I thought Telles provided energy and width to the attacks, which was good. Earlier on this season, Telles was out with injury, don't forget. The reason Man United brought Telles in was to provide competition for Luke Shaw. Man United got Telles for around 15.4 million with add-ons included. And Diego Dalot, he started our last 2 games. Obviously started against Arsenal because Pisaka wasn't available because Pisaka had a hand injury. I think he's now back from that hand injury. Dalot had some chances against Palace. I thought defensively he was good against Palace and he showed some good attacking intent and he did well against Arsenal. Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan last season, so reflecting on that he gained some experience, and Man United got Dalot around 3 years ago from Porto, paid around £19 million for him. Dalot and Telles will be in contention to play against young boys, won't they? Our first choice full-backs, Shaw and Bissaka, haven't been that good this season. Well, Luke Shaw, should I say, has been absolutely terrible when he's obviously not been injured. And I'm shocked in that aspect because last season Luke Shaw was absolutely superb. I'm sure at some point Luke Shaw will regain his form. Luke Shaw's a good left back overall. And Bissaka, he has had some good games this season, but he's had poor games as well. I think defensively, Wan-Bissaka's good, but the attacking side of his game is not so good. There's certainly aspects of Wan-Bissaka's game that's got to improve. Varane, he's a very, very good centre-half as well, but Varane's not available at the moment. Varane is out with a hamstring injury. It's a second injury he's endured at United because revert back to earlier on in the season. Varane had a groin injury. He was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. You've got Eric Bailly, that's a good centre-half as well. Bailly's played 4 games this season. The last game he played was Chelsea. He only played in that game because Maguire was suspended. But Bailly put a very good performance out against Chelsea. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane last summer. And obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. My only element of concern about Bailly is injury prone. And obviously Man United have got a very good goalkeeper in David De Gea. De Gea is one of the best in the world. He's done really, really well so far this season, to his credit. He was in goal against Palace recently. Had very little to do against Palace, was only called into action from long-range efforts. De Gea enjoyed a bizarre moment against Arsenal, didn't he, last week? Because he went down in the build-up to Smith Rowe's goal. Obviously, Fred had stamped on De Gea, that's the reason he went down. But he made some good saves against Arsenal to deny Aubameyang and Gabriel. De Gea did well against Chelsea the other week. He made some good saves in the first half to deny Callum Hudson-Odoi and Rudiger. Revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back, as he did decide to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place, and did say De Gea was determined to fight for his Man United future. He's won everything domestically at the football club, and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. This season is his 11th season. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. He's got under 2 years left on his contract, and De Gea receives £375,000 a week. I can't see De Gea being in goal for the game against Young Boys, because like I mentioned, Rangnicks will rotate heavily. I think Henderson will go in goal for the game against Young Boys. Henderson doesn't really get in goal now, does he? Because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back last summer. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Cup. At one point, Henderson was out with COVID for a while. That was earlier on this season. At one point last season, though, Henderson got the number 1 jersey, and he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. Henderson wants a loan move away from Man United. So there you go, Manchester United have got very, very good players. There's also inconsistent players at Man United. Martial's not good enough to represent the club. Martial doesn't really get in the team anyway. I don't think Jesse Lingard's good enough. He's another one that doesn't really get in the team. Martial and Lingard will be both leaving next year anyway. Matic, he's another one. Don't think he's good enough to represent the club. I think there's a good chance he'll leave next year. McTominay, he's another one who's not good enough to represent the club. I think Man United should consider offloading him next year. Fred, I don't think he's good enough overall. But like I said, he's done well in his last 3 games. If he can continue with these good performances until the end of the season, then my perceptions might change on Fred, and I might turn around and say, yes, he is good overall. But let's be honest, Fred has endured a lot of bad games as a United player. Fred plays alongside McTominay a hell of a lot in the centre and midfield. Harry Maguire, he hasn't been good enough at all this season. There again, Maguire played well against Palace, but that was the best game he had in a while. Don't forget, Maguire had a calf injury earlier on this season. Lindelof, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club. He has done well in recent games, but I still don't think he's good enough. And Luke Shaw hasn't been good enough this season. I'm not going to say Man United need to sell Luke Shaw out, because I'm convinced at some point he will regain his form, revert back to what I mentioned earlier on. There's been quite a few games where Rashford hasn't been good enough either, but I think overall he's still a decent player. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. My next video, I'll be giving you my predicted 11 for Man United's game against Young Boys. My channel name is Red Devil 24.